Welcome to the Carmiece radio show. Thanks for tuning in. I'm back in the building, been in court. Let me get my mic together. I'm just ready for y'all. I'm not ready for the radio.
Opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management. Good morning and welcome to the Carmiece Graves Show. Get ready to get great information on knowing your rights on estate planning, bankruptcy, divorce, alimony, and much more. Now, for today's show, here's attorney Carmiece Graves.
Good morning. Welcome to the Carmiece Graves radio show. And I am attorney CPA Carmiece T. Graves in the building. Got the mic. I'm back. I missed you guys. I've been out for a couple of weeks working in court, doing what I got to do. So I'm back to report. Now, last time I was in studio, we were talking about a couple of things. A couple of things I want to go over today. One of the topics is this scam alert has been confirmed that I rolled out a couple weeks ago about these divorces that's not looking too right, sounding too right, making too much sense. And I was able to, quickly confirm with an immigration attorney who I hope to have on the show soon so that we could go over this again, but did confirm for me what my suspicions were. So I did do some fact checking, and we're going to go back over that so people are aware what's going on and what they need to be looking out for so they don't get themselves caught up unnecessarily. So, or if you don't care, you don't care, but at least you know, right? So, we're going to go over that. Going to go over the scam alert. Then I figured, let's go into talking about the different types of divorces, especially here in Maryland. Mutual consent versus uncontested divorces, what the differences are there. I think, and then we'll go into talking about a little bit about, we'll see what I'm feeling like. We'll see what I'm feeling like. But let's talk about this. So I wasn't here in studio to talk about Juneteenth. So happy Juneteenth. It's a funny concept for me though. I get a little bit annoyed when I think about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why I have that idea, but I'm like this, so hold up, wait. And everybody knows the background story that, late notice over there in Texas, didn't know they was already free till several months later, everybody already free. And then I'm like this, do I get reparations for the time I was still working on this plantation when I was supposed to be free? Doesn't that mean you're supposed to be paying me now? I wonder, I don't know if we had the leverage to negotiate a contract, but I'll just be like, that is the key. Being unable to read, not being educated, it really has direct impacts. It really can affect the bottom line and your bottom dollar all the time. Education definitely is something that we just have to really enjoy consuming as much of as we can, and let that be a open, free-flowing, beneficial process, not something that we resist doing. Really important, good information out there. Sometimes just because I couldn't read, you're just not going to be fair. So anyway, that's in the past. So, other things that are going on. So let's get into it. So last time I was talking about that I was doing an uncontested divorce. And what I had noticed was, I understood now that this was a sham marriage where, the person got wind that this was more about, and we're talking about a situation where one person needs to get their immigration status together and they want to get married and they, profess to fall in love with someone or the other. And now it's not working out. So that's the basic fact pattern of this scam alert that I want you to be aware of. And the only reason I care about this is that what I noticed was the grounds. It seemed odd to me that, if you were in a relationship and it didn't work out, why not just go ahead and get an uncontested divorce? So let's lay that out. Each state has their own requirements and rules that's governed by statute as to the amount of time one has to wait prior to getting married. In Maryland, it has to be a year, or you can, and then we'll talk about things that can change that if we do another type of divorce. But say you wait the time period that you're supposed to wait and go ahead and file for divorce, and if anything, know that anytime I quote numbers or months or whatever, if I don't have the book in front of me, I need to go back and confirm, because that would be malpractice. We always double check our stuff. So this is for informational purposes only. There's a disclaimer here. This is not legal advice. You cannot rely on this. This is not create a claim attorney privilege or relationship. So anyway, so you think, in this situation, why not just go ahead and do an uncontested divorce once the parties have been living separate apart for the requisite amount of time? And I found that in this case, the grounds were that there was abuse. There was abuse in the relationship, which seemed utterly ridiculous, based on the facts and what I knew about the case. And I then had a suspicion that because of this immigration status, because usually I know there's a certain waiting period, that if you're married for a certain amount of time, because it's all about relying on the fact that that when you filed your petition, you had good status, that you met all of the requirements. It doesn't matter that later on that status may change, but as the process is pending in terms of your petition for your immigration status, these things that you're relying upon, these factors must stay in place and be good. And one of them probably is, being married. That's one of the ways you're getting your paperwork together. Now, if you go ahead and get divorced, before, you have gone through the process, that factor, is not stable and could cause you not to get approved in terms of green cards or whatever you're going for, citizenship, whatever you're going for. And we're going to have our immigration attorney in-house to break it all the way down on the immigration side. But I'm doing the family law side of this issue because that's where I run into it. So it's this interesting thing that I'm like, it must be that, because knowing just how the law is structured, and if you need these factors to meet the standard to get a green card, to get your citizenship, and one of the factors that you're relying upon, and there are many ways to do it, that you're married, you got to either stay married for a certain amount of time, or if something happens to the marriage, you must still be able to preserve it such that that factor still works to your benefit in your application and or petition. So when the divorce was filed and it was on the basis of this abuse, I was able to glean that you probably could say I was married, the person abused me, I had to get divorced, but that shouldn't count against me in terms of getting a divorce. Because if you say, hey, I'm just going to do an uncontested divorce, a mutual consent divorce, and you've gotten rid of one of the factors you need for your immigration process, your whole planning ain't working, right? You don't have a complete application that meets all of the qualifications anymore. But if you are able to get out of the marriage, right, and still be able to rely on the marriage in your petition, you can still skirt on through. So you can get out of this sham marriage and get back to your regular life. So knowing this, if I'm not trying to make you real suspicious, okay? I don't want you to be a pessimist about love. I really don't. But if you're in a situation and, something's got to happen for them to be able to solidify that they were abused or something. Check the emotional temperature gauge. Is somebody, getting too excitable? Is the temperature in this situation rising up? Just make sure, because you can make factors. You know what I mean? You can make factors. That's where those protective orders, how folks do, be calling the police, going to the commissioner, ain't nothing happened, just falsifying petitions and facts just to make a case and make a story that does not exist, to develop a storyline. So don't let a storyline be developed against you regarding any domestic situations, any threats, don't get caught up in that. Watch out for that. If you get charged with a protective order, defend that. Don't take it lightly, because if someone gets a protective order against you, they did it. And you don't need to be catching a judgment behind no stupid scam, okay? Because the judgment really affects your life, your credit, your security clearances. That is a big deal. So, someone roll out, a little fake protective order against you. Don't take it lightly. Don't think that you're just going to go in there and explain, because if they double down and have some corroborating witnesses, now everybody's an actor. You like, oh, bravo, okay, that's what we doing. You in court like, really? You got to be careful. So, because the status means a lot. Folks trying to eat in America, okay? They trying to eat. So be careful. Watch out. So I think that would probably be the most obvious factor. But if you finding that the police are being called and stuff like that, watch out for that kind of stuff. You don't want that storyline being developed against you, just so someone could dip and still be able to rely on the marriage to go ahead and move on with their papers. So be careful, about these statuses and these be careful, okay? Just doing my duty and sharing the information as I didn't make it up, okay? I ain't make this up, y'all. And then I went and I thought, okay, maybe I am being pessimistic, but I'm a lawyer. I'm good, intuitive with this, and I doubled back. I did that reverse deductive reason on my own, and I went and checked it with the immigration attorney. She was like, yep, there sure is a waiver, some sort of waiver they call it. I'm like, boom, knew it. So I am just sharing information so that you guys can be on the lookout for that. And, because if it's done, let's call it done, but I'm not going to catch a protective order or a judgment or, have to litigate a case. Well, if you got to litigate the case to defend the fact that you wasn't abused in a person, which is not that difficult to defend. So make sure you answer. So this is another point, okay? This is another point. Watch that. I mean, if you don't care if someone gets a divorce saying that you abuse them, and I don't think there's anything that's going to necessarily, I don't know. I'm not going to say that because some companies have some sort of morality clauses in them. So I can't tell you what it may or may not impact. So I would say make sure you protect your name and you protect the record and let it go as so. Now, if you was abusing people, this message isn't for you. But don't get called out. Don't get egged on. Don't get enticed. Don't get involved with that. So, because that could be playing in the background. You could just be walking into a trap and stuff. And people wow you out, do something crazy, and get you mad. And then you throwing stuff. And now, protective order, she threw chairs. Look, let's not fall for that, because it's really happening out there in these streets. So when I'm not here in the studio, I'm really in court duking it out. So speaking of which, just want to take a minute to talk about some victories, because bankruptcy world people have been taking action, calling. We've been getting it done, clearing the debt, making it happen. I think everyone would say that their experience is one that they spend most times, if you're wondering how it works, talking about Chapter 7s, needing just to clear debt, the relief. I mean, one thing I can tell you, the difference between family law and bankruptcy, one thing I really like is that when we complete a bankruptcy, the relief that people have is amazing. It's just like, whew, we got that sorted out. We got that back together. It took a lot. It was scary. It was confronting, but I took action, which means pick up the phone, call me, and let's see what we need to do to develop a plan. And when we get it done, the sense of sigh and relief is amazing. And I get to feel it with the client too, because it gets intense and I gotta, carry this into the end zone, and I do. Yay! So I'm really happy about the journeys I've taken with my clients and the successes that we've had and the relief that they've been able to experience and enjoy from, filing a Chapter 7 or going ahead with a Chapter 13 and coming up with a plan so they can get a hold of IRS debt, get a hold of, back pay, unpaid mortgage debt, and getting their arrears sorted out, getting out of foreclosure, getting out of repossessions of their assets like their cars, really just putting everything back in order and so that it's manageable and that you can keep your assets and continue to have some continuity with your life, not forced back into the housing market. Got to watch it. In some of these counties, got to watch it. That's another one. That's another alert. That's another thing going down, that they house snatching. They want DC is, it is going down here in terms of the housing market, and it's making real estate really, it's a limited commodity. It's not even a commodity, okay? It's real property. Let the CPA talk now. Let the CPA get it technically together. Actually, on the balance sheet under assets, it's the only real property that would be land and building. The rest of that stuff is personal. But when it comes to that limited resource of property, we got to make sure that we're holding on to our property. We're all, a lot of this change of ownership, I have bared witness to it, being, a probate attorney, always encouraging people to hold on to the family assets for dear life. And the offers seemed really sweet when they were $500,000 and $600,000 for a property that you ain't been in 20 years, and it's grandmama house, and you don't care about that neighborhood anymore, and you got a little deal, but then they flipped that and, made 150% profit on it. And now you don't like who own it. So let's think about, property as that limited, valuable resource that it is. And if you need to defend against yours and someone trying to snatch your property, and you know good and goddamn well that you have the financial wherewithal to pay and get into a payment plan and keep your property, definitely pick up the phone and call me. We can get a plan going. You can stop that action. Okay, so we're going to take a check-in with traffic and weather, and I'll be right back. Thanks for tuning in to the Carmiece Grace Radio Show. Woo! Facebook world's been going down, but it's been really good though. I'm really happy with the results, and I've been able to take some great pictures with my clients. I'm not sure if I'm going to post those. I'm not sure about confidentiality with that, so I haven't resolved that yet. I have to do some research on that, but I've enjoyed having them, and they'll at least be in my office for me to kind of really enjoy us being able to have victories and get things, especially when it comes to the bankruptcies, get life back in order, get things back heading in a good direction, feeling like you have some control and definitely some relief. So I get to experience that, so that's nice. Family law is harder. We just have a sense of, but no, actually, we just had a really good case. We were able to settle that. The parties came to a nice consent agreement, shared custody equally between mom and dad. It was lovely. I got to see co-parenting really, and, people came around. We did have to get involved to get it sorted out, but I was very happy to see that. Okay, back to the Carmiece Grace Radio Show. I'm back. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm attorney CPA Carmiece T. Grace, and I practice family law, estate planning, and bankruptcy in the Washington, D.C. area. Today we were talking about some insights I've had about family law, victories in bankruptcy, and how that's been going. That's been very rewarding. I wanted to talk a little bit about mutual consent divorce in Maryland. I absolutely love it. That, and then in D.C., the uncontested divorce on that side, where you really have resolved all the issues in the case. So ideally, now in Maryland, what they've said is like, okay, look, financially, people were struggling financially to do the separation. So the 1 year requirement was hard because you actually someone had to be able to get up and move and, sustain themselves, get in another place. And it was difficult because these people had been living as one economic unit, and the separation was hard. And then we went through a bit of variations with that. People were trying to live in the same house and clearly live separate lives in separate areas of the house, and with locks on the door and all this stuff to kind of prove to the court that they were actually living separate as husband and wife, even if they were under the same roof. And that was a whole bunch of hoops and stuff to jump through. So now we have mutual consent divorce, which I absolutely love, because the parties just need to resolve all the issues that exist. If you have kids, that would include like custody, child support, and then alimony, marital property, and then the grounds would be mutual consent. So that would be sorted out. But you'd have to really, and if you don't have a lot of assets and you don't have a lot of shared property, that could be a really quick way. And then you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait that 1 year. You don't even have to be separated, living under separate roofs. So if you're able to sort that all out, we could get that done quick, fast, in a hurry. So I really love those, but it does require a written agreement. Okay, that's something, you're really going to have to make sure that the issues outstanding in a divorce are completely resolved, or else you do not qualify. So you can't be like, but what about the toaster? You know what I mean? You can't do that. You're going to have to really have that all buttoned down. But it's very efficient way. It's very quick. It's very cost efficient. It's efficient in terms of your financial resources, your emotional resources, everything that you invest in a litigation. Otherwise, you get to preserve it and use that asset some other way for some fun, joy, fulfillment, and betterment of your life, as opposed to having to be dealing with the vitriol and the nasty conflict that sometimes comes from family law matters. Which then leads me to that. Like, man, definitely look, this coupling that people want to do, that we all want to do, that we enjoy doing, really assess the emotional constitution of a person. Really, you know what I mean? Like, don't let your ego trip you up that, you know, a person that's really clingy and codependent is just madly in love with you and can't live without you. Crazy. And you're going to find out later. It's cute now, but it might not be cute later, okay? So your ego be like, they can't live without me. They got to call me 15 times a day. You know, they can't go 2 minutes without hearing my voice. And then you're in a relationship like this. Where was you at? Now, I called you 10 minutes ago. You're like, no, we spoke 10 minutes ago, but I called you back. You're like, you are a little bit, you know. Oh my goodness. So watch for that, because it matters if, you know, when you're thinking about, for the younger people, you're about to have kids, think about these qualities that are being exuded. Okay. Are they good parenting qualities? Are they good? Do I think this person rationally will be able to go through something very stressful? How do you think their stress test would, you know, come out? Are they going to freak out, wig out? Look at how they respond to stuff already. They're going to show you how they respond to life. Take a good look at it and then know that you could be on the other side of that and make a decision whether that's a good idea or not, whether you liking what you see. Watch how people deal with stressful situations. And you know, a fun way they say to do that is, you know, you with somebody, go on a trip with them to a place that both of you have never been. As immediately you're kind of fish out of water, so you're on alert, and there's something about it that really brings out the character. Because we got to do this. We got to be smart about this, because on the other side of this, whew, boy, it could be a mess. It could be a mess. But it's life, you know. Even if so, it's okay. You know, if you find yourself looking back saying, you know what? I picked a doozy, but I got to get up on out of this. Call me. We'll get it sorted out. Get a consultation. Be smart about it before you make any real moves. If you're not clear, like, you know, this is something that guys do, my male clients do a lot more than my women clients do, which is do planning before any movement takes place. Because I guess usually it's the guy that kind of leave, I guess. So they come to get an exit strategy, which I think is really smart. If you're really thinking that I'm going to file for divorce, we're at that point of no return, before you make any major moves, I would get a consultation, definitely, to make sure you kind of understand the ramifications of what you're about to do, and just make sure you're in the best position to go ahead and make the move by mitigating risk, exposure, things like that. So that's the purpose of a consultation, which I think is a smart thing to do if you see the writing on the wall. And if you don't, and you get surprised, and then you need a consultation to understand what's going to happen because you didn't see it coming, also call me, because on that side, you need to know, okay, kind of relax. This is a path forward. This is probably how this will unfold. Family law is pretty predictable. You know, the parties change, but the issues and most of the facts, you know, are pretty routine, because this is just, you know, human nature clashing with one another. But they do make for some interesting fact patterns. I don't really need reality television at all. I'm going to tell y'all that now. Okay? I don't need it. I don't need it. I live it, and I love it, and I have compassion for it, and it makes me expand in my compassion. I mean, it really does, because you see some things and you just want to have a lot of judgment, like, are you freaking kidding me? You know, are you kidding me? But you be like, look, okay, everybody, you know, behind closed doors. I just get to see behind closed doors now, you know, like I get to see people's intimate business, but but everybody be kind of wilding behind closed doors. You don't know what people be doing behind closed doors. So let that be what it is. And because my behind closed doors, you be like, she's on the radio positive. Cuss somebody out cold. I'm like, yes, I did. I sure enough did. I was upset. So anyway, that's all we have to say about that. Summer's coming along really nicely. I'm absolutely enjoying it. Hopefully you're getting outside. On my side of town, I get to take beautiful walks down by the MGM Casino and across the Wilson Bridge and look at Old Town Virginia. And, you know, that's what I love about being in the D.C. metro area, that I have my metro life, but then I can go and enjoy nature, and it's so picturesque and beautiful and clean. I love it. I absolutely love being here. And I've been here for 17 years now, so it's definitely home. And the summertime and the summer nights are lit. Hopefully you're enjoying it. You're getting out. You're with friends, doing something fun, doing cookouts and going to house parties and doing whatever is enjoyable, because this is the summertime. This is the absolute time that everyone says they want. Summer, 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 summer. Well, summer is here, so make sure that you enjoy it. There will be only one summer 2019 in history, and live it, you know. Mine is definitely something that I'm enjoying, and I'm looking forward to it continually unfolding, and I look forward to talking to more of you as you call in and we get to work together and we get to know each other, and I appreciate the listenership, and thank you so much for sharing my videos on Facebook. If you guys need me, you know how to reach me. Also, too, I think, you know, I'm going to work on developing an estate planning workshop, so you guys could come out to my office, and I give you some in-person, you know, a presentation, and give you an opportunity to ask questions and probably receive some great discounts and stuff for moving forward with basic estate planning. So I'll probably break it up between basic and advanced, you know, talk about the basic packages and then the trust. And then, you know, get us going in terms of at least getting some core documents like a durable power of attorney, making sure that that's executed at a minimum. But I don't like to do the minimum. Let's just at least get to ground zero, because minimum is like below. It's like on the negative side. It's like, okay, I want us to get to ground zero, at least having a will and a basic, you know, package for incapacitation, so we can avoid guardianship proceedings. That's one thing you want to avoid. So y'all know that I could go through the family law, the, you know, and now we're going to end up with estate planning. So people are taking action. Make sure you're one of them. It's not as hard as you would think. It really isn't. Your job really much is to decide who gets your stuff and who's going to take care of your affairs. That's all you have to do. I do all of the rest. So look out for information. I'm going to work on that. So I put it out there in the universe. I've started it. It's just an idea. I haven't set any dates yet. So we're going to start. We're going to start working on that. So, well, that's it. That's all we got. And then Lonzo is looking at me like, no. Oh, good. I'm doing good. Okay, so what else is going on? Y'all? I don't know. 240-573-7153. Call me. Let's talk. Let's consult. Let's get things together. Let's get the relief you need from bankruptcy. Let's get a strategy if we've reached a point of no return in your marriage, you know, as sometimes that happens. It's okay. You're not the first. You won't be the last. We'll get it done. We'll get it sorted. We'll work it out. If you're getting a foreclosure notice, if you're under distress about your bills, give me a call. We can stop all that. 1, 2, 3, quick, fast, in a hurry. Even if you waited up until the day before the sale, we still got time. Okay, but the sale can't happen. Once the sale happens, it's over. So, you know, but give me as much time. Now, I like to have time, but if you were stuck with fear and only could move now, and we still have time, just pick a phone, call me, 240-573-7153. And then what else? Estate planning. So we're going to look forward to putting together some workshops. Look out for more information about that. And that's the show today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning into the Carmiece Grace Radio Show. And I look to speaking with you again next week. Thanks.
You've been listening to the Carmiece Graves Show with attorney Carmiece Graves. To reach Attorney Graves, please call 240-573-7153. That's 240-573-7153. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday at 10 a.m. right here on WOL 1450 AM, where information is power.
Good morning, folks. I'm Earl Kirk. Here's the latest from News1.com, brought to you by La Quinta by Wyndham.
La Quinta by Wyndham. Spacious rooms, free